My Apple Clips project. What is prohibition and what was the purpose of the 18th Amendment? Using the documents, I know that the 18th Amendment was the prohibition of alcohol. I know this because the first document says, after 1 year from the ratification of this article, the manufacture, sales, transportation, exportation, and importation of intoxicating liquors in the United States and all its territory is hereby prohibited. Prohibition is the act of banning something. What problems did people see in society at the turn of the century? People started realizing that alcohol kills and hurts them. They started thinking that alcohol was the only reason for people's bodies hurting, and many diseases, problems that they thought were being created by alcohol were tuberculosis, memory loss, body pain, families breaking, money shortages, and etc. For example, women began thinking that men couldn't support and help their families any longer because they would drink and they would run out of money or they would be too drunk to support them. As document A states, why did they think prohibition would solve these problems? According to document A, people back then thought that prohibition was needed because with alcohol being banned, there would be less poverty, less dependency, less pressure in hospitals, asylums, and jails, and etc. They really did think that alcohol was the main cause for all these things, and that's why they thought prohibition would solve these problems. What strategies did temperance advocates use to convince people to support them? Temperance advocates use propaganda to convince people to support prohibition. For example, in document C and D, you could see the posters that they created and the examples and facts that they used to make people support them. That is a really smart strategy when it comes to wanting to convince people to be on your side for an argument or anything like that, by using propaganda and posters, commercials, and things like that. Do you find their arguments convincing? I do not find their arguments convincing because nowadays new things exist that probably did back then but weren't as popular or weren't as recognized as they are now. For example, drugs, weapons, and new teachings. So I didn't find what they're saying convincing because alcohol isn't the biggest cause or what's causing any of those problems. It could be, but how I said now there's drugs and maybe people that get like tuberculosis and sicknesses like that and diseases, and it isn't just because alcohol, it could be because of alcohol and drugs. Do you think people at the time found their arguments convincing? People back then probably believed all these things because no one really knew what was going on. People were very gullible at that time. They didn't truly know the problems that alcohol caused unless they experienced some. So you wouldn't really understand what people were going through unless you drank alcohol. For this last question, we were assigned to go back to a Go Formative assignment that we did this week in the past and answer this question. Why does the author of Document B single out immigrants? Document B on Go Formative singles out immigrants. They single out immigrants by saying it especially directed at the immoral foreigner, usually an alien, who had largely stopped killing with a knife from hate or with a gun for hire and has gone into the preparation and thoughtless of selling poison for profit. Basically, they're saying that immigrants are the only ones that would do that and the only ones that would sell alcohol for profit, and they're just singling out immigrants because I think that they're probably the most easiest ones to blame.